And you'll be going, no, in week 6, 7 months. No, it can happen because I know people, and it just sucks to be them. They just struggle to lose the weight, so they have to be extra vigilant, extra dedicated, and extra passionate in order to get there. Some people can start their diet in January, and by March, like, kabam! Simon on the board, Hell here. Thank you for joining me as always. And given that we have just got into 2022, everybody has got a brand new goal. Some people are trying to put on mass and size and get jacked, and other people want to lose body fat. They want to lose weight. So all of a sudden, they're all falling back into the old myths and, to be fair, all the old lies, and they are flying off course. So as we want to do on this channel, we are going to run down 10 things nobody tells you about fat loss, and hopefully when you do know, it helps you a little bit in the gym. Number 10 is you can't eat whatever you want in a calorie deficit. Now, when it comes to the science, technically it is true. Like, you all know this already. If you are in a calorie deficit and you are burning more calories than you are consuming, you are going to start losing fat and you are going to start losing weight. But the problem is, as soon as you start to go, I can have whatever I want, but I'm going to have it in small portions, is that you kind of trick your body, and it all depends on the kind of character you are. Because if you're eating one piece of pizza or one pizza that's 1,500 calories a day, and that is your total amount of food, you're not going to be getting the right nutrients. You're not going to be particularly satiated. And let's say you smash that down your neck at 2 p.m. By the time you get to 8 p.m., you are going to be absolutely starving. And unless you have dedication and discipline of steel, because you're some kind of diet superman or superwoman, it's not going to work. And you're going to fall off the wagon. And in my humble opinion, and again, it's an opinion, it's not the truth. If you can do it, good for you. I'll come round and I'll give you a cookie. The reason people do this is because they don't want to give up quote unquote nice food. But there is a ton of healthy, nice food that you can put into your diet. You just have to go out there and educate yourself and learn about it. So of course, yes, calorie deficit is the most important thing, but be honest with yourself, be realistic. There is going to have to be some sacrifice, which for a while is probably going to be what is essentially cheese on toast. Number 9 is that it's not just about low carb diets. Now, amazingly, even though I think the Atkins diet first sort of came to, well, popular mainstream culture when I was at school, so it was like absolutely ages ago, people still think when it's time to lose weight, you have to go on a low-carb diet. You have to get rid of carbs, and there's no way that you can burn fat and get in the shape that you want without not eating carbs. That was not the right thing to say, but you know what I'm talking about. It's absolute nonsense, okay? It goes back to point 10, kind of. This is almost like an extension of that one. If you have the kind of mindset where you can give up all carbs, and maybe you're doing a keto diet or something, but I'm not even saying that. You're not trying to replace fat as your source of fuel. Somehow, you can just get rid of carbs and not eat very much. Awesome. Good for you. Great. Once again, I'll come around and I'll give you a hug. But for 9 times out of 10 people, what happens is they get rid of their carbohydrates, they have no energy because that is their primary fuel source, and then they're just exhausted and they're just tired and they're feeling crap. And do you know what you do in the evening when you're tired, exhausting, and you're feeling like crap? You reach for a Mars bar, you reach for a bag of Skittles, you just make yourself a massive milkshake because you go, you know what, this sucks, I don't even care. So just reduce your calories. Just reduce your calories whenever they are. So if you've been taking 3,000 calories and now you've got to the point where you have to go down to 2,000 calories, sure, get rid of 1,000 calories, but within that 2,000 calories, of course you're allowed carbs, and that can be bread if you want. Bread. I never understand this. In mainstream culture, again, I suppose, you hear it all the time. Well, I'm not eating bread right now, but I'm eating pasta. You're like, what is wrong with you? And this comes down to the GI index. We talked about it so many times. I'm not going to talk about it again. But you can have carbs. That is the message I want you to take away. Just don't eat like a glutton. You know this. Deep down, you know this, but you just want to pretend it's not true. Number 8 is you don't have to eat clean all the time. Now, Instagram, it's always Instagram, would tell you that if you go on a diet and you cheat on said diet, you're a terrible person, you're a loser, and you should run into a wall and try and bust your head open. There is no way you're going to get to your goals because you cheated on your diet. This is absolute baloney. It's about what you're doing the majority of the time. Now, if you can get all the way up to 99% of the time, good for you. You're absolutely smashing it. But honestly, as long as it's around 90 to 95% of the time, and I'm talking about all the time, you are going to lose weight because your body is not going to go absolutely nuts just because you dropped the ball on, let's say, one evening on a Wednesday, right? It's one evening on a Wednesday and you're like, oh no, I had a bagel. You had a bagel. You weren't meant to have a bagel. Now your calories are probably going up about 300 or so. You're not going to wake up the next day and be massively fat. Maybe you'll hold on some water because you have reduced your carbs and your body's not used to it, but that will pass in a couple of days. It's all about consistency and it's all about doing it, well, every single day. And that's why finding a diet that's sustainable is much more important than going, I must eat healthy and clean all the time. And you should plan in cheat meals too, right? You absolutely should, because again, maybe instead of having that bagel on a Wednesday, if you knew you could have super bagel on a Saturday at 7 p.m., you will hold off and then you don't cheat on your diet because it shouldn't shouldn't even be called a cheat because you planned it in. You have said Saturday day or Saturday night is cheat night. Therefore, you're not cheating because it was on the piece of paper to begin with. So do not start a diet always on Monday. No one ever starts a diet on a Thursday. Everybody starts a diet on a Monday. So don't get to Monday at 9 a.m. and go, no, this is it. There's no more nice food for the rest of my life. That's not realistic. And that's the thing. Unless you are an Olympic athlete or you're in training for some serious competition, and then you've probably got a team around you that can make sure you do get steered in the right direction, don't go into it so hard-headed. Be flexible. And once again, I'm going to keep repeating this word because people forget it. Be realistic. Don't buy into the nonsense you see on social media. They ain't really doing that. They're just telling you are because they think it sounds great. Number 7 is eat a ton of salad. Now, obviously, there is still calories in salads and vegetables, etc. And if you really want to, you can count them when you are calorie counting because at least then you know. But obviously, they are so low in calories, you can have a ton of them. So if one day you are just desperate for food or you're so hungry you want to fill yourself up, trust me, eat a bag of spinach. You can cook it or you can just eat out of the bag if you're that type of person. Then drink like a liter of water and then you come find me and tell me if you want to eat any food. You won't do. Your stomach will be so full from the water and all the fiber, the last thing you're going to want to do is snack. Now, you're not going to feel particularly good either, although you will have a bunch of nutrients in you, especially iron, because that's what spinach is good for. Popeye knew. But there are ways and means of kind of circumventing how rubbish you feel if you are doing hardcore dieting and actually putting yourself in a state where you're like, man, the last thing I want now is a cheesecake because I think I would throw up. Because that really is the goal, right? The goal is to send the signals from your stomach to the brain to say, stop eating and stop wanting to eat. I don't want anything anymore. And it's a perfectly fine thing to do. Don't go crazy with it, but have you really heard that many stories about somebody overeating spinach and having too many problems? Now, you could be the 1 in 100, so make sure you keep an eye on it as well. Don't eat 9 bags. That would be stupid. The point is, there's always something you can do. There's always these life hacks, as the internet calls them, in order to make things a little bit easier. So do it. Have a diet drink. Have one of those 5-calorie jellies. Once again, you do not have to be strict army guy. Have fun with it, because tell you what, it's not fun at all. Number 6, hunger isn't bad. So as soon as people feel hungry, they think, I mean, if they're a bodybuilder or a weightlifter, they must be losing muscle. Or they also go to this crazy place where they go, well, I'm feeling hungry, and that's my body telling me, oh man, you need to eat right now. So they decide, well, I must eat, because clearly otherwise if I don't, something bad is going to happen. You know it, I know it, your mum knows it, your nan knows it, your dog knows it. You just making excuses. If you don't think when you are trying to lose weight, once again, there isn't going to be some sacrifice, you're just kidding yourself. You are, and you're already setting yourself up for failure. Of course you're going to feel hungry during specific parts of your weight loss, fat loss, leading up process. It just stands to reason. It doesn't mean that something bad is happening over here or something cursed is happening over there. It just means maybe your stomach is shrinking, right? When you eat loads of food, your stomach expands, and when you don't, it shrinks down again. Maybe it's just that process. So your body is used. Its routine says, well, at 4 p.m. we have, I don't know, 1,200 calories. You're a big eater. But now we're only having 500 calories, so I'm going to rumble away because I don't get it. But eventually it will catch up to you and you won't feel that way anymore. You are going to feel hungry. I mean, some people won't. Some people, manage to get away with it, which is why the spinach trick is good, because you won't feel hungry anymore. But I always find when people say it, once again, they're just going, hee hee hee. They know what they're doing, but they're tee-hee-heeing like a little school kid because they think they found a way around it. And you have done, but ultimately the end result is you won't lose any weight. And then you're going to be sad and you're going to be stuck on a terrible merry-go-round. Number 5, there is no such thing as fat-promoting or fat-storing foods. And that's a little bit too general, right? If we get into the science, you'll find a completely different answer, but I'm talking about the more general thing here. Even if you eat one of these supposed, oh my gosh, it's going to help you lose so much fat foods, and you eat, 8,000 calories worth of it, do you know what your body's going to do? It's going to start storing it as excess weight. This is another thing that people do. Let me make up a fruit, the bolonga fruit, right? The bolonga fruit, and you find all these studies that say, oh my gosh, if you have the bolonga fruit, it will speed up your metabolism and it attacks specific fat cells, which is absolutely always nonsense. But even if it was true, because we've done a study at Harvard, because that's all Harvard does, as we have learned ever since this channel came around, there's going to be a line and there's going to be a limit. Eventually, it just becomes excess calories and it just becomes excess food. And once again, when people start a diet, they find something they like and they go, yeah, but I take that because it helps me lose the fat. It's probably not. And if you are really struggling to lose weight, you're probably eating way too much of it anyway. And also, it's one of those things where you're overcomplicating things, that you're really, really overcomplicating things. The actual process of what you need to do is really simple, but it's the doing that is really hard. So it's simple in chatting, and in theory, it's really difficult. That was not what I meant to say at all. In execution, it is really difficult. But as long as you go into it, once again, with the right mindset, it won't be as bad because you'll be prepared. Like, imagine you go home and your partner's there and they're having sex with someone else. I'm just trying to ruin your day. If before you went in that door, somebody had already told you the information and you knew it was true, you're going to be less surprised when you see the bad thing going on. And it's the same with the diet. If before you go into it, you say, okay, this isn't going to be as fun as when I was eating in a surplus, you just set yourself up once again to have a better time. And before, fat burners are not the ultimate answer. So I don't have a problem with fat burners. I don't. I think they can be a good supplementary addition as long as you get a good one. So make sure you do research and make sure you read reviews beforehand. But as I've learned, especially since 2022 ticked over, people think what you do is this. Say you're eating 3,500 calories a day. You get to January, decide you want to lean up for the summer. They believe you just start taking a fat burner and it will quite literally start burning all your fat. That makes as much sense as saying, oh, it's time for me to get jacked. Let me start taking a bunch of whey protein. No, that is one small thing out of dozens, if not hundreds, of other things you have to do. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't take one. I'm saying you could probably take a reputable one if you did want to, but that is there to help you 1-2%. The rest has to be diet, and the rest has to be cardio, and the rest has to be a healthy lifestyle. There is no pill out there that is going to help you magically lose fat unless you're probably getting it on the black market. But even then, you would still have to do the work. You cannot escape doing the work, right? Okay, sometimes you can take things, which means you can reduce the work, but the work is still there. So find a way to make that fun and find a way to make that entertaining. Like eating pizza is the best thing in the world. You need to sit down and you need to get out a chalkboard and your chalk and you need to write down, how do I get the equivalent of eating pizza in the gym and losing fat? And you can do it. You'll never get 100% there because, again, pizza is the best, but it's better than at least trying to, as opposed to going, oh, I took a magic pill and now look at me. No. Number 3, initiative eating is probably going to screw you over. Now, initiative eating sounds great. I think I got the right term. I do know about it, but sometimes I get confused. And essentially it is you live your life by listening to your body. So if your body says you want a cherry, you have a cherry. If your body says you want to eat, I don't know, a donkey, I guess you eat that. You probably shouldn't do that. Sounds horrible. And you just take it in and you try and satiate yourself that way. Now, if you're able to do this and you're able to do it in a calorie deficit, there's that word again. Will you lose fat and weight? Of course you will. But I don't believe many human beings are like that. For example, my body all the time is saying, talked about it once, twice, now 3 times, eat pizza and ice cream. And the worst part is when I eat the pizza and ice cream, I don't just have a couple of slices and like a couple of scoops. I have the whole damn large pizza and I have the whole damn tub. So then I'm like, oh man, well, I did initiative eating and now I want to eat some more because I cannot get enough of it. And what path do you think that's going to take me down? Gerald the fitness mascot fell over. So if you can do it, awesome. I 100% mean it. If that's the way you stay in shape, I'm not saying there's anything bad about it. But once again, it comes down to the thing I'm going to ram down your throats during this video. A lot of people are just using it as a way to get away from eating the foods they quote unquote don't like and keeping the foods that they do like in their diet. And you can do it. It's your life. You can do whatever you want. No one should knock on your door and say, rah, 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 right? It's your existence and we only have one life, but you're not going to get to where you want to go. And that's the other thing you need to do. You need to say, okay, I like eating food. It tastes delicious, but right now I'm going to sacrifice that because I want to have abs. I want to get down to 12 stone or whatever the hell it would be. And eventually you can reincorporate that stuff if you realize, well, I didn't enjoy getting to this weight, but you just got to shift your priorities around a little bit. That's just the truth. Number 2, you can smash your diet. Now, for 99% of us, there's that percentage again. It is better to take things slow and steady. And the reason I like to take things slow and steady is because I'm terrified of losing muscle. And that's what happens sometimes when people go into their leaning or cut-up part of their diet too quickly. Their body away at a bunch of muscle as it's looking for food. Whereas if you slow it down a little bit, you're more likely to, access the fat areas. You know what I'm talking about, right? Because you're not going too crazy. But there is now this rule of thumb that you can't do it fast at all. And that's not fair. Of course you can. Once again, if you go crazy with your calorie deficit and you're smashing your cardio, you're absolutely going to lose weight. So if you have a certain goal, there shouldn't be this fast and hard rule that you can never do that. You can. You should just be aware of the potential consequences. But I see this all the time. I see it all the time, especially on lists like this. Like, you cannot do it in 4 weeks. Oh no, you can do it in 4 weeks. But there just may be some negatives to that. But I think the problem is that some people then freak out because they start in January and by February they want to be in a certain shape. They're like, well, I'm never going to be able to get there. Be safe is what I would tell you more than anything. If you start feeling faint and you start feeling weak and you start feeling bad, then you've done something wrong and you probably aren't nourished in the right way. And you've got to be nourished. But I don't think it's fair for anyone to come up with this blanket rule because it's just absolute stupid, it's gibberish, and it's not true. And number 1 is you won't have abs after a week. I only put this one in here because I read an article when the new year did turn and it said, man, do you want abs like mid-Jan? Just like, Unless you mean because we all have abs, you just can't see them. And I read the article and it was just nonsense as well. It was just health tips. And they had just massively, it's clickbait essentially is what it was. They had just massively spun what would happen and how much progress you would be able to do. But it's not. It can take some people, I kid you not, if you, depending on your body and genetics, some people will start their cut in January and they won't see abs till April, May, June. Some people July. And you'll be going, no one waits 6-7 months. No, it can happen because I know people and it just sucks to be them. They just struggle to lose the weight. So they have to be extra vigilant, extra dedicated and extra passionate in order to get there. Some people can start their diet in January and by March, like kabam, and they're showing their abs off and these people we hate and they should be shipped off to their own island. Ain't nobody getting it in a week, 2 weeks, unless you've already got abs. But that's perfectly fine. If you've started your diet in November and now you're coming to the end of it and it's all gone perfectly, then sure, you'll start to see your six-pack. But just do not rely, don't even have it as a goal, right? I mean, I get it, but have it as you want to lose weight to get to a certain weight number and then see what you look like and if you want to lose a bit more. But as soon as you start saying, my goal is to have abs, that's like saying, I want to throw myself out the window. What exactly? That's not true at all. But just don't do it. I see it wreck people time and time again. And the message is, oh, how do I get abs? Do I do this to get abs? Blah, blah, blah. Work on your core because it's important, but abs, they're made there. And if you don't know, my kitchen's over there because this thing behind me is fake. I shouldn't have said it, but yes, it is a green screen. So there you go. 10 things about losing fat, losing weight that nobody ever tells you. If you have any more or you think I'm talking crap, make sure you leave a comment below. And again, these are just my opinions. They are not the law. And if you've had a way of doing it, again, share with the group and we can see what happens. Like the video, share the video and subscribe. Get the bell ding ding so you know when other videos are going live. There is another video on the screen. Please do give it a click. If you would like supplements that I truly believe will help you, depending on what your goal is, make sure you read about them first. Don't just buy random ones. Grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon, get 10% off. I use them. I think they're really great. Doesn't mean you're going to think they're really great, but I'm happy to rep them because I believe in them, right? Same with Greg Doucette's Power 13 cookbook, which I am in. Kind of ties into this video. The whole point is giving you a bunch of sustainable recipes that you can actually eat every day and go, oh man, I love it. I don't want to eat a pizza. I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316. Views are okay, but we need to get them to super duper before we get rid of that. I also have merchandise, simonmiller.bigcartel.com. I have social media at Simon316 and I'm on Cameo. If you would like a shout out, thank you to everybody who books me for those. It always puts a smile on my face, but otherwise you can do it, right? If you get to the end of the video, you get special motivational Simon. You can lose the weight and you can lose the fat, but it's going to take time, it's going to take dedication, and it's going to take discipline, and it's going to take a lot of hard work. But why can't you do it? Other people have done it. They ain't more special with you. Get back in touch when you've smashed it. See you soon.